Imagine you're on the verge of uncovering the most astonishing and mind-blowing secret that has been concealed from the entire world for generations, so hidden and obscured that it once instilled fear and dread in the hearts of those who knew of it. You find yourself standing at the threshold of a mysterious, unknown realm, a realm where the forces of light and darkness are locked in an eternal struggle. A conflict that is far more than just distant or cosmic. It's a battle raging within your very own soul, inside your mind, your heart, and your essence. This is not a story confined to distant myth or legend. It's a narrative so extraordinary, so bizarre, and so intense that it has even caused the most sacred texts, including the Bible, to tremble at its implications and band together to try and contain it. What you're about to uncover surpasses anything you've come to believe, revealing truths so profound and unsettling that they shake the foundation of everything you thought you knew about yourself and the universe. It's about the paraphrase of Shem, and trust me, it's not your usual creation story. In this story, darkness and light fight over everything, including the world we live in, and the very soul inside each of us. At the center of this tale is a war between three forces: light, darkness, and spirit. The light is like the best version of yourself, the real you. The darkness embodies all the fears that reside within you, the unsettling thoughts that creep into your mind, the memories of the worst things you've ever encountered or experienced, and even the darker aspects of yourself that you desperately try to push aside or forget. It's the shadowed corner of your consciousness where anxiety, doubt, and negative feelings often dwell, waiting to surface when you're vulnerable. The spirit, on the other hand, is that resilient part of you, the core that actively seeks to find harmony amidst the chaos, the balancing force that pushes back against the overwhelming power of darkness. It's the internal drive that strives for clarity, patience, and understanding, even when everything else seems to be falling apart. Without this vital ability to resist and stand firm, darkness can easily take over, spreading its influence and blinding you to hope or possibility. Darkness isn't just something lurking on the outside of you, looming in the shadows or in the dark corners of the world. It's also a force that exists within, subtly working to distort your thoughts, undermine your actions, and sway your perception of reality. It's cunning and deceptive, often sneaking in unnoticed, using subtle tricks and manipulations to sway your mind and weaken your resolve, making it a persistent and dangerous adversary that must be acknowledged and guarded against. Those moments when you find yourself feeling completely overwhelmed, anxious, or weighed down by negativity, that's when the darkness begins to creep in and grow stronger, subtly but surely, gradually taking over your thoughts and emotions. If we're not vigilant, this darkness can gain enough momentum to take control of our mind and spirit without us even realizing it, slipping in quietly and making everything seem more difficult or hopeless than it really is. But it's important to remember that there's always a way to fight back against these feelings. That's where the light comes into play. A powerful force that can dispel the shadows, cut through the gloom, and remind us of the resilience we carry inside. We can harness the strength of that inner light, whether through hope, love, kindness, or perseverance, and use it as a guiding force to rise above the darkness that threatens to consume us. By consciously focusing on the light, we can reclaim our sense of peace, find clarity amidst chaos, and push through those dark times with renewed courage and purpose. The light isn't just an abstract idea, it's a real, tangible source of energy that, when tapped into, can help us stand tall and push back against the shadows. It's always there, waiting for us to turn toward it, to let it shine brightly within us, illuminating our path and helping us overcome even the darkest moments. This isn't merely some distant, abstract spiritual conflict happening somewhere far away or in some elusive realm beyond our reach. Rather, it's a very real, ongoing struggle that each one of us engages in continually on a daily basis. It takes place deep within our own hearts and minds, shaping our thoughts, choices, and sense of purpose. In the book titled They Walked with Jesus, Dolores Cannon, who was a regressionist hypnotist exploring the realms beyond ordinary perception, delves into the stories of those who actually lived during the time when Jesus walked the earth. These individuals were not just passive witnesses. They were people who shared physical proximity with him, walking alongside him and observing his life firsthand. They saw and experienced not only his outward actions, but also the profound spiritual teachings he imparted, teachings that went far beyond surface-level religion and touched on the very core of universal truth and divine wisdom. Their accounts offer glimpses into a deeper, more intimate understanding of Jesus' message, revealing that he was not only a spiritual teacher, but also someone whose teachings continue to resonate and challenge us today, making the struggle for spiritual clarity and understanding an ongoing, universal journey. Her work offers a fresh and insightful perspective on the spiritual forces of light and darkness, illuminating that the age-old struggle between these two powerful elements is not merely a distant myth or historical event, but something that continues to influence and shape our lives even today. Through her exploration, she reveals how this eternal battle between good and evil is a persistent reality that we are all inherently part of, whether we recognize it or not. The Book of Jubilee explicitly mentions that the descendants of Ham would come to inhabit this very land, a territory that stretched from the mighty Nile River in Egypt, passing through vast deserts and reaching further south into what is now known as sub-Saharan Africa. This biblical reference underscores the historical and spiritual significance of this region, linking ancient prophecies and narratives to the land we see today. Ham's descendants gradually extended their reach across this expansive land, founding numerous settlements and establishing a variety of kingdoms along the way. As they moved and settled, their influence grew, shaping the culture and history of the region. Meanwhile, the Gnostics held a worldview in which the material world was fundamentally corrupt and flawed, believing it to have been fashioned by a lesser, imperfect being, an inferior creator opposed to the true divine force. They maintained that genuine divine light existed beyond the confines of our physical reality, residing in a realm inaccessible to the material realm we inhabit. The paraphrase of Shem offers readers an immersive exploration into these profound Gnostic doctrines, diving deep into their understanding of the universe's chaotic origins and the tumultuous process of creation. According to these beliefs, the creation of the material world was rooted in chaos, a tumultuous event marked by dark forces that continuously struggle against the divine light. These malevolent entities seek to dominate and distort the divine order, engaging in an ongoing battle with the divine forces that aim to preserve and restore spiritual purity. This cosmic conflict underscores the fundamental Gnostic view that the material realm is a battleground between dark and divine, with divine light forever striving to reclaim and illuminate what has been fallen into darkness. This particular connection was frequently employed as a way to explain why there is such a wide variety of races among humans, and also to describe how human populations dispersed across different regions of the world. However, it is very important to acknowledge and understand that throughout history, These interpretations and stories have been misused and distorted for unjustifiable purposes, in particular, during the era of the transatlantic slave trade. Some advocates of slavery deliberately invoked this story to lend a supposedly divine legitimacy to their actions. They claimed that the story of Ham was evidence that Africans were inherently destined for servitude, citing Ham's curse as a divine approval or endorsement of their subjugation and exploitation. This misuse of historical and biblical narratives was rooted in prejudice and fueled systemic discrimination that had lasting impacts on societies and attitudes towards different races. Recognizing these distortions is key to understanding how such stories were warped to serve political and social agendas that perpetuated inequality and oppression. This particular connection was frequently employed as a way to explain why there is such a wide variety of races among humans, and also to describe how human populations dispersed across different regions of the world. However, it is very important to acknowledge and understand that throughout history, these interpretations and stories have been misused and distorted for unjustifiable purposes, in particular, during the era of the transatlantic slave trade. Some advocates of slavery deliberately invoked this story to lend a supposedly divine legitimacy to their actions. They claimed that the story of Ham was evidence that Africans were inherently destined for servitude, citing Ham's curse as a divine approval or endorsement of their subjugation and exploitation. This misuse of historical and biblical narratives was rooted in prejudice and fueled systemic discrimination that had lasting impacts on societies and attitudes towards different races. Recognizing these distortions is key to understanding how such stories were warped to serve political and social agendas that perpetuated inequality and oppression. The outcome was a life marred by imperfections and sustained by persistent pain. Yet amidst that turmoil and disorder, there exists a glimmer, an invisible spark of divine light that patiently waits, yearning to be reignited. In the perspective of Gnostic philosophy, spirit symbolizes the core aspect of ourselves that still maintains an unbreakable connection to the divine realm, the true source of all that is pure and luminous. Light in this spiritual context embodies the essence of purity, goodness, and clarity, an untainted source of truth and divine wisdom. However, darkness, an opposing force, signifies the corruption, illusions, and deception that distort perception and entrap spirit within the confines of the material world, which is often seen as a realm of illusion and illusionary suffering. This darkness acts as a barrier, severing the spirit from its original divine source and immersing it in the shadows of ignorance and falsehood, making the journey toward awakening and spiritual truth a challenge rooted in the struggle to overcome these forces of darkness that obscure the light within. This ongoing and relentless struggle between light and darkness mirrors the internal conflicts that we grapple with on a daily basis, representing the ongoing battle within ourselves between our higher, more enlightened selves and the shadowy, often hidden aspects of our nature. The paraphrase of Shem functions as a powerful metaphor for the human experience, illustrating the concept of spiritual entrapment, a state where the true spirit becomes obscured or lost amidst a world that is saturated with material temptations, disorder, and evil influences that cloud our spiritual clarity and purpose. The Gnostic worldview posits that darkness embodies our lower instincts, the primal urges and unconscious drives that tend to hinder us on our journey towards spiritual awakening. These darker aspects represent those parts of ourselves that cling to materialism, ignorance, and base desires, serving as barriers that keep us from ascending to higher states of consciousness and deeper wisdom. Conversely, Light symbolizes the higher self, an elevated state of awareness, purity, and divine knowledge that continually strives to transcend these darker tendencies. It embodies the pursuit of enlightenment, moral clarity, and spiritual truth, guiding individuals toward a state of harmony with the divine essence. This ongoing battle between light and darkness is not an idea exclusive to Gnostic beliefs alone. It resonates across numerous religious traditions, philosophical teachings, and spiritual systems. It's a universal motif that reflects the perennial struggle within us all. The tension between our lower, instinctual impulses and our higher aspirations for growth, understanding, and unity with the divine or the ultimate truth. This duality, embedded deeply within the human experience, underscores the timeless quest to overcome our darker inclinations and embrace the illuminating power of higher consciousness. From the ancient framework of Zoroastrianism's dualism, which delineates a cosmic struggle between good and evil forces, to Carl Jung's psychological theory of the shadow self, the concept of an ongoing internal battle is a theme that resonates across many cultures and philosophies. Jung underlined how crucial it is for individuals to actively confront, acknowledge, and integrate the aspects of their unconscious shadow, those hidden, repressed parts of themselves, in order to achieve a sense of inner wholeness and completeness. This process is not merely about recognizing our flaws, but about bringing these hidden facets into conscious awareness so they can be understood and balanced. Similarly, Gnostic traditions have long viewed the journey inward as a path of spiritual awakening, emphasizing the need to integrate the higher divine spirit with the material and darker aspects of existence, symbolized by overcoming darkness with light. Both perspectives highlight that true mastery and peace come from the acceptance and integration of all parts of oneself, including those we might prefer to keep concealed, fostering overall harmony and unity. The message conveys that regardless of how seemingly insurmountable the darkness might appear, be it the weight of negative thoughts that grip our minds, the challenging circumstances that test our resilience, or the lingering fears that hold us back, the light that resides within us has an incredible strength, capable of conquering all of it. However, to harness this power effectively, we first need to become aware of this ongoing inner struggle, acknowledging its presence rather than avoiding or denying it. Only once we recognize the reality of our inner conflicts can we begin to learn how to navigate through them with intention and clarity. This process of awareness and navigation is reminiscent of the practices and philosophies of the Gnostics from centuries past, who understood the importance of awakening to the inner light within, and using that awareness as a guiding force amidst the darkness. Like them, we must cultivate this recognition and understanding, forging a path toward light, even when the shadows seem overwhelmingly present. These Gnostic texts contain hidden knowledge, wisdom that can help individuals uncover and reconnect with their true divine nature, allowing them to overcome and transcend internal darkness. By delving into these profound teachings and understanding the deeper forces at work within themselves, people can unlock access to their higher selves, a realm where light consistently prevails over darkness. The core idea behind Gnostic teachings revolves around spiritual evolution, a continuous journey of awakening and growth that leads us closer to our divine origin. In today's world, where uncertainty and chaos often cloud our paths, this message of spiritual transformation and enlightenment feels more urgent and relevant than ever before. guiding us toward spiritual evolution is a concept that suggests our souls are engaged in an ongoing journey toward achieving deeper understanding and enlightenment. It involves a process of rising above the superficial limitations imposed by the material and physical aspects of life, with the goal of awakening to our authentic divine nature that lies within us all. This path towards spiritual growth is often seen as a transformative journey that fosters inner awakening and self-realization. However, it's important to recognize that this journey is rarely simple or straightforward. It is fraught with obstacles, struggles, and tests arising from forces both internal, our doubts, fears, limitations, and external circumstances, societal expectations, and unseen energetic influences. These challenges seem to appear at every turn, seemingly trying to divert us from our true path. Yet, within each of these obstacles lies a valuable lesson or an opportunity for profound growth, encouraging us to cultivate patience, resilience, and insight. Every difficulty faced along the way can serve as a catalyst for deepening our understanding of ourselves and the universe, ultimately guiding us closer to the divine essence that we are all part of. In Shem's paraphrase, the conflict among light, darkness, and spirit isn't simply a narrative about how the universe came into existence. It serves as a symbolic story that mirrors the spiritual journey each of us undergoes in our lives. The light in this context stands for the divine core or essence that resides within us, an intrinsic part of ourselves that embodies purity, wisdom, and innate connection to something far greater than our individual selves. It reflects that guiding spark of higher consciousness that beckons us toward understanding, growth, and purpose. Similarly, the darkness symbolizes the challenges, doubts, and shadows we encounter along our path, while the spirit signifies the deeper force or driving energy that fuels our movement through these layers. This allegory suggests that our inner development is a continual interplay of these forces, nurturing the light within, confronting and transcending darkness, and allowing the spirit to lead us toward harmony and enlightenment. Darkness, on the other hand, stands for ignorance, fear, and selfishness, which dominate the material world. Spiritual evolution begins when we realize life is more than the physical. Gnostics believe that true awakening starts with understanding that the material world is an illusion, a distraction that keeps us from realizing our deeper purpose. But once we become able to see clearly past this illusion that clouds our perception, we open the door to initiating the awakening of the light residing inside us. This inner light, once ignited, grants us the ability to forge a deeper connection with our higher selves, those parts of us that hold wisdom, clarity, and true purpose. However, this awakening is not something that occurs suddenly or without effort. Rather, it's a gradual journey that unfolds over time. It's a continuous process of growth, transformation, and self-discovery that demands persistent effort, ongoing awareness, and dedication. The darkness within, manifested through our fears, doubts, negative habits, and lingering insecurities, resists this process fiercely, not wanting to relinquish its hold easily. It clings stubbornly because it fears losing control or facing the truth, making the path to enlightenment a challenging yet rewarding endeavor. It makes an effort to pull us back, attempting to keep us confined within our previous patterns of thinking and acting that no longer serve us. This is precisely why the process of spiritual growth and awakening can feel so difficult and demanding, because it pushes us to confront aspects of ourselves that are often uncomfortable or hidden. It demands that we face our own inner demons, those unresolved issues, fears, doubts, and negative tendencies that reside deep within our subconscious. Only by confronting and transforming these darker elements of ourselves can we truly evolve into more positive, enlightened beings, capable of embodying love, compassion, and understanding. In our daily lives, these forces of darkness can subtly or overtly reveal themselves in countless ways, through challenging circumstances that test our patience, toxic relationships that drain our energy, or societal pressures that attempt to mold us into a certain image or restrict our true selves. They can appear as internal struggles or external obstacles, constantly challenging our resolve and spiritual progress. Navigating through these moments and pressures requires awareness, courage, and a willingness to grow beyond our comfort zones. But more often than we realize, the darkness isn't something external that we face. Rather, it originates from a place deep inside us. It's that persistent voice of doubt, whispering constantly, planting seeds of insecurity, and convincing us that we're not worthy or capable enough. It's the anger that bubbles up uncontrollably during stressful situations, threatening to overshadow our better judgment and calm. It's the overwhelming fear that paralyzes us, preventing us from taking the necessary steps to follow what truly resonates with our spirit or passion. The Gnostic thinkers understood this internal struggle as a fundamental battle between the divine spirit within us and the darkness that seeks to diminish or corrupt it, a conflict that defines much of our human experience. And how do we navigate and rise above these conflicting forces, both internal, like our negative thoughts and destructive patterns, and external obstacles presented by circumstances or other people? One of the most vital elements in this journey is cultivating self-awareness. This means developing the ability to observe our own mind and emotional states without immediate judgment, allowing us to recognize the negative thoughts, ingrained habits, and recurring patterns that hinder our progress. Once we are conscious of these internal barriers and destructive cycles, we gain the power to confront, challenge, and ultimately transform them, thereby creating space for growth, healing, and a closer connection to our true spiritual essence. Gnostics believe that knowledge, or gnosis, as they sometimes refer to it, is the most potent and transformative tool we possess when it comes to overcoming the darkness that surrounds and resides within us. This knowledge isn't merely about acquiring facts or surface-level information. Rather, it encompasses a profound and deeply personal understanding of the complex forces, both conscious and unconscious, that operate within our minds and spirits. It involves an intimate awareness of our true nature, our hidden motivations, fears, and the underlying truths that shape our perceptions and actions. The more we delve into this self-awareness, the more equipped we become to confront and transcend the challenges, illusions, and obstacles that life continuously presents. This journey of inner discovery helps us build resilience, clarity, and strength, qualities essential for navigating the often tumultuous landscape of existence. Ultimately, gaining this level of understanding allows us to see through deception, dispel ignorance, and step into a clearer, more enlightened way of living, guiding us toward the light. As we continue advancing along our path of spiritual growth and self-discovery, we start to access what the Gnostics called higher consciousness, a profound state of awareness that transcends ordinary perception. This higher consciousness is a heightened level of being where we become deeply conscious of our intrinsic connection to the divine light, an essential part of ourselves and the universe. It's in this luminous state that our perspective begins to transform, allowing us to see the world and our place within it through a completely different lens. No longer driven solely by fear, greed, or selfish desires, we start to embody qualities like compassion, wisdom, and understanding more fully. Our actions become guided by a sense of unity and a desire to serve something greater than ourselves, leading to a more fulfilled and enlightened way of living. This entire process of awakening to a higher level of consciousness is very much like a mirror reflecting the transformation of the spirit, as depicted in the paraphrase of Shem. In this narrative, the darkness at the outset acts as a barrier, imprisoning the spirit in the confines of the material world, holding it down and preventing it from recognizing its true essence. This darkness symbolizes ignorance, confusion, and the superficial layers of reality that obscure the soul's innate understanding. However, the pivotal turning point occurs with the intervention of light, an awakening force that gradually pierces through the darkness. As this light interacts with the spirit, it begins to ignite a profound awareness within, allowing the spirit to see beyond the illusions and limitations imposed by the material realm. This newfound clarity helps the spirit to reconnect with its authentic self, shedding the weight of chaos and illusion that once kept it bound. With this awakening, the spirit gains the strength and the insight needed to transcend the chaos, to rise above the tumult and turbulence that once confined it. The process elevates the spirit from darkness into illumination, guiding it back toward its true nature and higher purpose, ultimately leading it on a path of greater understanding and spiritual liberation. This mirrors the universal path of spiritual growth that each of us embarks upon, a journey of learning how to release and surrender those things that no longer truly benefit or nourish us, and instead opening ourselves up to a higher, more enlightened way of existing. At its essence, spiritual evolution involves a continuous process of becoming, of unfolding into the fullest, most authentic version of ourselves that we can possibly aspire to. It's about cultivating a deep awareness that we are not merely limited to our physical forms or the routines of everyday life, but are instead beings with a spiritual essence, capable of growth, connection, and transformation. Recognizing that our true nature extends beyond the superficial layers we often identify with, we start to understand that we are more than just bodies going through the motions of daily existence, and that our consciousness has the potential to expand into realms of understanding and purpose that transcend the ordinary. The pursuit of a deeper understanding of oneself, of the universe, and the intricate relationship between the two, about peeling back layers of superficial knowledge and surface perceptions to uncover truths that are often hidden beneath the surface, guiding us toward a more authentic and meaningful existence. Ultimately, it's a path that encourages us to look inward and outward with curiosity and openness, seeking clarity amidst mystery and finding profound insights in the process. Gnosticism centers around the pursuit of hidden knowledge, knowledge that goes beyond mere facts and extends into the realm of spiritual truths. These truths possess the power to fundamentally transform the way you perceive and live your life, offering a deeper understanding that can influence your actions, beliefs, and overall outlook. In this specific section, our goal is to break down Gnosticism into clear, straightforward concepts that are easy to grasp. By presenting it in a simplified manner, we aim to help you grasp the essential ideas and core principles without overwhelming you with overly complex or technical language. This approach allows you to gain a solid foundational understanding of Gnosticism, making the subject accessible and comprehensible, so you can appreciate its significance without getting lost in details that may seem confusing or unnecessary. At its core, Gnosticism originated during the early centuries AD, specifically around the 1st and 2nd centuries, when it began to develop as a distinct philosophical and spiritual movement. This belief system taught that the physical, tangible world we experience with our senses is ultimately an illusion, not the ultimate reality. Instead, it asserted that the true, profound truth exists beyond the material realm, within a spiritual dimension that is hidden from ordinary perception. This concealed knowledge, often referred to as gnosis, was considered the essential secret or insight that could unlock salvation or liberation. Followers believed that by discovering and understanding these hidden truths, they could transcend the flawed and deceptive nature of the physical world. The ultimate goal was to escape the illusions of material existence, which were seen as imprisoning or corrupting, and to reunite with the divine source, an eternal, pure realm that exists beyond the physical universe. This journey towards spiritual awakening and enlightenment was central to Gnostic teachings, emphasizing the importance of inner knowledge as the key to harmony and unity with the divine. Gnostic thought holds that the origin of the material world is attributed to a lesser, imperfect being, often referred to as the demiurge. This entity, which is considered to be flawed and inherently imperfect, is believed to have been responsible for the creation of a world filled with suffering, illusion, and deception, an existence veiled in darkness and illusion. However, beyond this tangible physical realm, the true divine light exists in a state of pure, radiant perfection, residing far beyond the confines of the material universe. The core aim of Gnostic teachings was to help individuals awaken the dormant spark of that divine light within themselves, illuminating their inner consciousness and guiding them toward enlightenment. By doing so, they sought to free themselves from the cyclical cycle of suffering and deception inherent in the material world, enabling a return or connection to the divine truth that lies beyond the physical realm. In Gnostic belief, light represents everything good, pure, and connected to the divine. Light symbolizes truth, wisdom, and spiritual awakening. On the other hand, darkness represents ignorance, deception, and all the things that keep us trapped in the material world. Gnosticism teaches that by recognizing this battle and choosing to follow the light, we can rise above the illusions of the physical world and discover our true selves. Gnosticism refers to the perspective that the physical world is essentially a distraction or an illusion that keeps us away from grasping spiritual truths. It emphasizes that the more we concentrate our attention on tangible materialistic aspects such as wealth, power, or social status, the more we drift away from uncovering and understanding the true nature and essence of the universe. This worldview suggests that our preoccupation with external possessions and superficial achievements causes us to lose sight of deeper, more profound realities that lie beneath surface appearances. In the pursuit of hidden knowledge, knowledge that reveals spiritual realities and the core truth of our existence, we can discover something far more meaningful, enduring, and authentic than what the physical world can ever provide. This path of seeking inner understanding and esoteric truths promises a richer, more enlightening experience beyond the transient and often superficial pleasures of material possessions. It's about intentionally redirecting our attention away from external appearances and worldly distractions towards an inward exploration, a deep dive into the process of self-discovery and spiritual evolution. The concept of the demiurge holds significant importance within Gnostic philosophy. In this framework, the demiurge is often regarded as a deceptive or illusionary deity responsible for shaping the material universe we experience. This entity is distinguished from the benevolent, omnipotent gods found in many mainstream religions, as it is not considered to be all-powerful or fundamentally good. Instead, the demiurge is frequently viewed as a flawed or even malevolent figure, whose creation of the physical realm serves to trap or obscure the soul's true divine essence, emphasizing the importance of inner awakening and liberation from the illusionary world it has crafted. Instead, the demiurge is fundamentally ignorant and riddled with flaws, and as a result, the world he fashioned is inherently filled with pain, suffering, and deception. If this thoughtful exploration of Gnostic beliefs and the ongoing inner struggle between light and darkness struck a chord with you, and you felt a sense of connection or reflection through it, then perhaps you might consider showing your support. You can do so by clicking the Super Thanks button located below, a small gesture that helps sustain this kind of content and encourages more deep and meaningful discussions in the future. Your valuable contribution plays a vital role in enabling us to keep producing content that reveals concealed truths and encourages a more profound level of understanding. Gnostics, in particular, hold the belief that the demiurge, a divine or semi-divine figure, aims to keep humanity confined within the limitations of the material world, diverting attention away from the pursuit of genuine spiritual enlightenment. They see the focus on superficial distractions, such as material possessions, fleeting pleasures, or worldly concerns, as intentionally engineered barriers that prevent individuals from awakening to higher realities. By supporting us, you're helping to keep these topics alive and relevant, fostering continued interest and inquiry into these profound ideas. Be sure to stay tuned for the upcoming video, where we'll explore these mysteries even more thoroughly, delving into the depths of Gnosticism and addressing the ongoing spiritual battle that each of us faces. This journey promises to uncover insights that challenge perceptions and inspire a deeper search for truth. This concept of feeling confined or imprisoned within the confines of the material world is something that resonates strongly in today's society, especially when we observe how modern culture places such a heavy emphasis on notions of success, wealth, status, and outward appearances. It often seems like an endless pursuit of possessions, achievements, and surface-level glitz that keeps us distracted from deeper truths. In contrast, Gnosticism presents a different perspective. It teaches that to break free from this cycle of superficiality and material entrapment, one must seek out hidden esoteric knowledge that lies beyond ordinary understanding. It encourages us to delve into the mysteries of existence, to uncover the divine light that resides within each of us, and to awaken that inner spark of spirituality that can guide us toward true liberation. In this way, Gnosticism offers a message of hope, reminding us that despite the allure of material success and external validation, there is a higher, more meaningful path that leads inward and upward, beyond the illusions of the material realm. It serves as a gentle reminder that regardless of how daunting or overwhelming the challenges we face in life might appear at any given moment, the inner light within us never truly fades away. That light is always present, silently waiting, patiently enduring, for us to pause and rediscover it once more. Each individual possesses an incredible potential deep within, an ability to overcome the darkness that might surround us and to reconnect with the divine truth that resides at the core of our being. When we tap into that connection, we open ourselves up to a transformative process, one that has the power to not only change who we are on the inside, but also to influence the world around us in profound and meaningful ways. This inner illumination is always there, shining brightly behind the shadows, ready to guide us back to our true nature and to inspire us to bring about positive change in ourselves and in the universe we inhabit. It all starts with posing some fundamental questions to ourselves, questions that delve into the core of our inner experience and self-awareness. What are the distractions that constantly pull my attention away from what truly matters? What fears or doubts am I carrying that prevent me from stepping fully into my authentic self? These inquiries serve as a mirror that reflects the often unseen or ignored parts of our psyche, those hidden fragments that are still asleep, lurking in the shadows of our subconscious mind. When we take the time to shed light on these areas through honest reflection and awareness, it's as if a gentle illumination reveals the concealed corners of our being. As we do this, our perspective begins to shift. We start to see ourselves, our motivations, and the world around us in a fundamentally different way, more clear, more compassionate, and more aligned with our true essence. This process of self-discovery and awareness transforms how we relate to everything in our experience, opening the door to growth, understanding, and genuine self-acceptance. You are so much more than the limited image you see staring back at you in the mirror. Beneath the surface, beyond the superficialities, lies a vast, untapped potential and a divine identity waiting. You are an integral part of something much larger than yourself, an incredible whole that is illuminated by light, guided by wisdom, and grounded in truth. When you choose to embark on this journey of deep self-discovery and inner exploration, you open the door to transforming your life in ways you perhaps never even thought possible. The battle between light and darkness is very real, and it plays out in many ways around us and within us. However, equally real is your innate power, the strength you hold within to overcome that darkness and choose a brighter path. I want to sincerely thank you for being an active participant in this ongoing journey. Your involvement, your presence, and your engagement truly make a difference in keeping these conversations and explorations alive and meaningful. Your participation helps sustain this collective pursuit of understanding and growth, making the experience all the more fascinating and impactful for everyone involved.